Tennessee destroyed NC State 51-10 on Saturday, and it was not close. NC State's one touchdown was a defensive touchdown. This Tennessee defense looks spectacular. It doesn't just look good enough. It doesn't just look solid. No, it looks absolutely near elite, as close to elite as you can get. Because the biggest question for Tennessee coming in was their secondary. Their secondary absolutely clamped. I'm not going to say the best yet because they're still gelling, but one of the most talented receiving corps in college football. They clamped them. And the secondary looked good, but holy moly, the front seven looked like one of the best in the country. That's because it is. Like this run defense, everyone likes to focus on the offense with Tennessee. This run defense, under Tim Banks, has given up under 4 yards per carry all 3 years he's been there. All 3 years. NC State had like 130 total yards of offense. They got destroyed. This was over the moment this ball was snapped. And yes, it is possible NC State could be worse than we thought. They have a new transfer quarterback. They have some new pieces. They could still be gelling. But Tennessee did what great teams do. They demolished them. And the defensive side of the ball looks great. The run game, too. My goodness. Dylan Sampson is a player that has gone severely unnoticed because that guy has put on weight. He's put on power. He's looking like a high NFL draft pick right now on the run game. And Nico Iamaleava. The question, Tennessee, I mentioned coming into the season that Nico is the biggest what if in college football. Where Nico goes, Tennessee goes. And you may look at the stat line and say, oh man, like he had 2 picks. Not sure if it was a great game. One of them was really fluky. The other you could have said was on him. He played a great game. He played phenomenal. And he managed the game. He did what he was asked to do. Is he this so-called savior of Tennessee football? Is he the guy that's going to vault them to national championship contention? Because remember, that's the expectation that Tennessee's putting on him. They're not putting on him like, oh, he could be Hendon Hooker. He could be this awesome elite college quarterback. No. Right now, the thought with Nico is this is the guy that is going to take us back to what we were in the Peyton Manning days and the T. Martin days. And we haven't quite, even though we know he's good, we know that. And the athlete that guy is goes highly under the radar. But Nico hasn't had to be Nico yet. Because in all of his starts, Tennessee hasn't given up a single offensive touchdown. Like, Tennessee has ran the ball over opponents' throats. Their defense has absolutely clamped in the secondary. They've gotten so much pressure. They've forced takeaways. They've wreaked havoc. Nico hasn't had to be Nico yet. And it's suppose that's a good thing. And Tennessee, I think, is in this tier where you have clearly the 3 championship contenders, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas. Put them in any order you want. Those are the 3. And then you have this tier below where you're like, if this happens, then they're national championship contenders. Then they are up with those 3. With Tennessee, this is the most complete team Josh Heupel's ever had. By far. Their secondary looks good. Their front 7. Tennessee has never had the athletes to compete with Georgia in the front 7. You look at Tennessee's front 7, and you look at Georgia's guys in the trenches, and you say there's a noticeable difference. You don't notice that anymore. You don't. Tennessee can hang with Georgia. I didn't say they could beat them. I said they could hang with them. They could hang with Alabama. Now, this is what Heupel's done. He's recruited Tennessee hasn't produced top 5 classes yet. It's looking like they might in 2025. But they've recruited selectively well on the D-line, at receiver, and quarterback. They've recruited super well there. It's looking like it's paying off. But the question for Tennessee is, who is Nico Iamaleava? We know he's at least good. We know he's good. We've seen that the first 2 games. But is he great? Is he the savior of Tennessee football, or is he just a very good college quarterback? because that's going to be the answer that vaults Tennessee into national championship contention with those three. We know their defense is good. And frick, man, their defense might be so good that they don't need him to be Peyton Manning. They may need him to be like they may need him to be Hendon Hooker or whoever it may be. Honestly, that might be what they need from him. Yeah, NC State, 4.7 yards per pass attempt, 1.4 yards per carry on the game. 2 years ago, Tennessee had a great offense. Their defense held them back. Last year, they had a good defense. Their offense was a step behind. Their offense held them back a little bit. This year, nothing seems to be holding them back. That's the reality.